In the last video on this very first original official Boy Scouts of America knife by the New York Knife Company, Hammer brand, made in 1911 to 1916, I showed you that was a pretty good example, except that it was missing the bail. And that was unfortunate because the bail is the most unusual feature of this very first Boy Scout knife. They came with a large permanently attached bail, bigger than any other bail that would ever be on a Boy Scout knife. And that quickly went away because in 1917, when they came out with the second version of this knife, they went to a much smaller detachable bail. So I said in that video I'd like to create a bail if I could and install it, and so I've done that, and I'm here to show you what I came up with and how I did it. But here are the results. I think it came out pretty well, and I seem to have gotten, I think, the proportions right. What I did was I took my digital calipers, which are just an invaluable tool to do something like this. I measured the thickness of bails on my other early Scout knives and other camp knives, and I kept coming up with about 3/32 of an inch in diameter. So I ordered a foot-long 3/32 inch nickel silver rod to work with and fashion the bail. I used a couple of pictures I have from reference books. Here's one that shows the very first Scout knife with a very large bail. The next version, you can see here, they switched to this smaller removable bail. But this picture was most helpful because I was able to use it for proportions. Here you can see the very first version with the very large permanently attached bail, and then the second version with the detachable bail removed there. So I have a little slideshow just to kind of walk you through my process. I took pictures as I worked on it, and I'll just voice over it and show you how I put this together. Okay, so I know the knife is 93 millimeters long. What I don't know is exactly how long to make the bail. But I can see here that picture knife is 54 millimeters long. And picture bail is 24 millimeters long. So with a little math, I can solve for the X, and I see I need a bail with a side about 41 millimeters long. I doubled that because there's two sides, and then I added another 13 millimeters because that's about the width of the knife. And I think I need a piece of rod about 95 millimeters long. So I went ahead and I measured it out. I added just a little bit because I knew I would probably lose a little bit at the ends when I ground them down. So the first thing to do is flatten the ends of the rod, which I did with a hammer and my little anvil. I kept hammering on them until I made sure they were spread out about twice the width of the rod. Next came a tricky part, and that was drilling a hole in the center of the flared out portion. Same size hole, 3/32, which would be enough to get it over the remaining posts protruding from the knife. Ta-da! Now to round off and clean up those ends on a grinding wheel. So far, so good. I found the center of the rod and began to bend it around the horn of my anvil to shape the bail. The posts on the knife were already peened over, so I squeezed them with pliers to try to get a little more height out of them. Then I used my Dremel with a small grinding wheel to remove any remaining lip so the hole on the bail I just made would fit over. Once I got the bail in position, I put it on my anvil and peened the posts back over with my ball peen hammer. A little final polishing finished it all up. I think it came out pretty good and looks a lot like an original. Thanks for watching, and have fun collecting.